Hello. Okay, so today is chapter 3 of the Lost Years of Merlin, book 2, the 7 Songs of Merlin. I didn't rename my things yet, so let me do that. It is kind of a shorter chapter today, but that's okay because I'm really tired, so not too bad. In the last chapter, Merlin and Rhea made a detour to Tulane and Garlotha's home, so Merlin could show off his cool harp skills, and they were not really interested in his harp skills, and he was bummed out. They were more interested in being good humans, and he was more interested in showing off, and so now he's storming off all pissed off. But here is chapter 3, Warm Wind. With nothing but the stars for my blanket, I spent that night curled up in the hollow of a stream bank. Rushes, moist with dew, lay under my head. With one hand, I could touch the splashing water that cascaded over the steps of the stones carpeted with green moss. With the other, I could feel the flowering harp and my staff resting among the reeds. I should have felt glad to be alone, free of what the world called friends. Yet stroking the magical strings at this spot, bringing this stream to life, had given me no joy. Nor had watching the rushes and mosses spring from the dry soil, nor had even spotting Pegasus in the midnight sky, though it had long been my favorite constellation, ever since that night my mother had first shown it to me. This night, sleeping fitfully, I did not ride upon Pegasus's winged back as I had so many times before in my dreams. Instead, I found myself in a different dream. I sat upon a scarlet stone, watching my mother approach. Somehow my eyes had healed. I could see again, really see. Sunlight glinted on her golden hair, and a different kind of light played in her vibrant blue eyes. I could even see the tiny sprig of hemlock that she held in her hand. Then, to my shock, I discovered that my front teeth were growing longer, much longer. Bigger and bigger they grew, curling around like the tusks of a wild boar. Those dagger-like points were aiming straight for my eyes. As my teeth continued to lengthen, I flew into a panic. I screamed. My mother came running, but too late to help. I clawed at my face, trying to pull my teeth out bare-handed. I couldn't remove them. I couldn't stop them. Slowly, inexorably, my teeth curled around until the tips reached my eyes. My own eyes. In just a few seconds they would be punctured. With a shriek of pain, I felt them rupture. I was blind again, utterly blind. I awoke. There was the stream splashing beside me. There was Pegasus sailing overhead. I lifted my head from the rushes. It was only a dream. Why then was my heart still pounding? Gingerly, I touched my cheeks, scarred from the fire that had blinded me in real life. They ached terribly from the new scratch that I had just given them. Yet my heart ached even more. All this from a fire of my own making. To have lost my eyes was bad enough. To have done it to myself was still worse. For the first time in months, I wondered whether Demetrius, the other boy trapped in the fire that I had started, had survived. I could still hear his screams of agony, his whimpers of fear. I put my face into the rushes and wept. As the stream flowed, so did my tears. In time, my sobbing subsided. Yet it seemed that the sound of sobbing continued, somewhere beyond the splashing of the stream. I lifted my head, listening closely. More sobbing, punctuated by long, heaving moans. Patting my wet and sore cheeks with the sleeve of my tunic, I crept closer to the water's edge. Despite the darkness, my second sight traced the stream's path for some distance. Yet I could not find the source of the dismal sound. Maybe it was just my own echoing memory. Leaning over the coursing water, I groped among the rushes with my hands. My knee kept sliding off the edge of the muddy bank, almost landing in the water. I continued to search, though I found nothing. Nothing at all. Yet the sobbing and moaning seemed to come from somewhere very near, almost in the stream itself. In the stream itself! That was it. But how could that be? I started to plunge my left hand into the water, then caught myself. The old pain throbbed between my shoulder blades. Could this be some sort of trick? One of Finkyra's hidden perils, like the shifting wraiths who take the form of something pleasant just long enough to lure you to your death? Rhea would know. But Rhea, I reminded myself bitterly, was no longer with me. The moaning welled up again. Starlight sparkled on the dark surface of the stream, making it look like a river of crystals. Biting my lip, I thrust in my hand. A frigid wave washed over my wrist and forearm. My skin reeled from the shock of cold. Then my fingers touched something, smooth, round, softer than a stone. Fumbling to get a grip on the slippery object, I seized it and pulled it free from the water. It was a flask, not much bigger than my fist, made from a heavy bladder. Its leather cap had been sealed tight with a thick waxing of coat. A thick coating of wax. Bloated with air, the dripping flask glinted darkly. I squeezed it. A loud wailing struck my ears. Then came sobs, heavy with heartache. Using the base of my wooden staff, I cut away the ring of wax. It came off only gradually, as if reluctant to loosen its grip. Finally, it fell away. I tore open the cap. A rush of air blew across my cheeks. It felt warm and soothing, and smelled vaguely of cinnamon. As the flask collapsed, the gust of air flowed over my face and hair like a living breath. "Thank you, person, thank you," came a wispy little voice from behind my head. I dropped the flask and whirled around, but I saw nothing between me and the distant stars. "Or should I say," whispered the voice again, "thank you, Emrys Merlin." I caught my breath. "How do you know my name?" "Oh yes," the voice went on breezily. "I like the Merlin part much better than dusty old Emrys." Reaching up, I groped at the night air. "How do you know so much? Who are you, and where are you?" A soft, breathy laughter rose out of the air before me. "I am Ayla, a Wishlalagan." The laughter came again. "But most people simply call me a Wind Sister." "Ayla," I repeated. "Wind Sister." Again I reached skyward, and this time my fingertips passed through a warm current of air. "Now tell me how you know so much." The smell of cinnamon grew stronger. Warm air swept slowly around me, fluttering my tunic. I felt embraced by the whirling circle of wind. "I know as much as the air itself, Emrys Merlin, for I travel fast and far, never sleeping, never stopping." Ayla's invisible cloak continued to spin slowly around me. "That is what a Wind Sister does, Emrys Merlin." A slight sob made her pause. "Unless she is captured, as I was." "Who would do such a thing?" "Someone evil, Emrys Merlin." The warm air spun away, leaving me with a sudden chill. "Tell me." "Someone evil, ah yes," breathed Ayla from near the bank where I had slept. "Her names are many, but most know her as Domnu." I shivered, though not from the night air. I know Domnu. I know her treachery, yet I wouldn't exactly call her evil. "She is surely not good, Emrys Merlin." "She is neither good nor evil. She simply is, a little like fate." "Dark fate, you mean?" Ayla's breeze blew across the strings of the harp, tingling them lightly. "She is the one of the few who are old and powerful enough to catch the wind. I don't know why, Emrys Merlin. I only know that she locked me away in that flask and cast me aside." "I'm sorry for you." A warm breath of air caressed my cheek. "If you hadn't have helped me this night, Emrys Merlin, I believe I would have died." My voice to a whisper, I asked, "Can the wind really die?" "Oh yes, Emrys Merlin, it can." Once again she brushed my cheek. "The wind, like a person, can die from loneliness." "You're not alone now." "Nor are you, Emrys Merlin. Nor are you." Okay, so that was the end of our quick chapter 3, and tomorrow we will read chapter 4. Alrighty, have a good night.